Hey, PFP family, what's happening? Coach Andrew, Coach Travis here from PFP. Hey, first off, we have a special announcement today. It's Kathy's birthday. Happy birthday, Kathy! Kathy's running a marathon this year, and she's going to absolutely kill it. She claimed that she's going to get first place out of everybody, so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, you're watching this Facebook Live because you're hoping that either for yourself or for your athlete, what we share today is going to help you finally realize why it is that you have motivation sometimes, but other times you lose it. In fact, if I were to know 10 years ago what we're about to share with you on this chart, if I were to know these things, I would have been a different athlete, a different student. I would have never relied on motivation. I would have been able to kick it on myself. And that's the biggest thing we're going to share here.
Yeah, it really provides internal motivation and not that external motivation that wears off.
Yeah.
And the big thing is if you see athletes that are achieving things, typically they have these 5 things in place, taken the right way. And when you see athletes burning out on the adverse, you're going to see them going the demotivated path and they're lacking these 5 things. So it's going to be a game changer.
These things are so simple. When you see these, you're going to be like, oh, duh. But it shows you the inside of human psychology and what truly motivates us consistently. And then you can replicate this over and over again. Like everything that you've ever wanted to be motivated in, eating healthy, working out, doing all the things that you know you're supposed to do.
Being better at communicating.
Better communicating, all those things, they are in this. So what we're going to start with is what demotivates us. It also could be motivation as well. Travis is going to touch on that a little bit. But the first reason why we tend to become demotivated is because we feel like we don't have this very powerful thing called choice. And if you think about it, it makes sense. When you feel like you don't have a say in something, when you don't have control of a situation, that's when you're demotivated.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we see it, a parent is driving their kid to go play at the next level, and if that kid doesn't even enjoy the sport anymore, that's going to be really hard because it takes a lot of discipline to make it happen. So if they're lacking choice, chances are they're not going to be hitting on all cylinders, which they need to be doing if they want to take that next step forward. That's a big one.
I think in terms of trying to get your kids to eat healthy, if you're a parent watching this, you don't give them a choice of what to eat, they immediately are demotivated. They don't have any motivation to want to eat healthy. Whereas if you give them 2 choices, one of which is not healthy, one of which is, they are much more likely to make a better decision and be motivated to eat the healthy thing because they have a choice. It's just psychology. We can't argue this. This is just the way it is, guys. So if you've been demotivated, it might be because you didn't have a choice.
I wish I had this choice when my mom was making pork chops growing up.
All right, so that's what demotivates us. It can also motivate you when you do have a choice. And the second one is, absent a challenge in your life, you are not going to be very motivated. Humans operate better when we have a challenge. When things are easy, it doesn't matter if you're a high-level athlete or not. If things are easy and you don't feel like you're being stretched and challenged, it's going to be demotivating, and if you think about it, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it's easy to get complacent in those situations, but on the flip side, it's too much of a challenge, it's even demotivating then. So if I'm telling a 10-year-old to go hit all CC Sabathia, that's a little demoralizing, they're not going to get the hits. So it has to be in that sweet spot when it comes to the challenge. You want to aim big, but it has to be obtainable.
Yep. If you're a coach and your team, you've been struggling to motivate your team, look at these 2 things right here. Number 1, are you not giving them enough challenges that align with who they actually want to become? Because I could try to challenge Travis to eat broccoli, but if that doesn't align with some aspirational goal that he has for himself, which it does, but if it didn't, then he wouldn't be motivated. He'd just be like, thanks for the challenge, but I don't really care about that. And then the same thing on choice. Are you giving them choices of what to do for conditioning at the end of practice? Hey guys, your choice today. We got 10 100s, we have gassers, or we have push-ups until your arms fall off. Like, give them a choice and they're much more likely to be motivated.
Up, downs.
So before we dive into this piece, I needed to let you guys know that this framework here, this motivation framework, came from Brendan Burchard, who is an incredible high-performance coach who we've learned a lot from here at PFP. So the credit for this, or the credit of this entire presentation, goes to Brendan Burchard. Thank you for teaching us this. Here's where we get into the good stuff. These 3 things must be in place if you want to have consistent, ongoing motivation, if you want to make sure it doesn't die off. The first one is a very important word called, get a pen that works, congruence. Get a little darker lines, a little bit darker lines here. Congruence. When you are not aligned with who you truly are, who you're meant to be, and what you're designed to do, your gifts, your strengths, your passions. If a kid is playing a sport, let's say cross country, but genetically that kid is designed to be a sprinter, he is going to be he's not going to be motivated because he's not aligned with who he's meant to be. That's from a physical standpoint, but obviously you can get into the psychological standpoint too.
Yeah, and I mean the big thing is, as a coach, you want to set your players up for success. So I mean, if your kid can't quite handle the mental capacity for a certain position, you got to slowly introduce the stress to build the capacity. Maybe alter their position for a little bit, preparing them for the long-term picture, so they feel more in congruence with where they're trying to play.
Yeah, if you're an adult who's ever been put into a position at work before, and it didn't align with your gifts, your passions, your strengths, you know this is true, right? This makes sense. You weren't motivated to do the job if it wasn't aligned properly. So we have to be congruent if we want to stay motivated. In the past, if you've lost motivation, this might be why. The second one is we feel motivated when we are connected, right? When we have a connection to the purpose, right? The purpose of what we're doing. I think about a sports team here too.
Absolutely.
When the player feels like they're connected to the end goal, the vision, the purpose of the company, the purpose of the team, they're just more motivated to contribute. And that lends into the next one. But as far as connectedness goes, you have to be connected to why you're doing what you're doing or the people with whom you're doing it. Otherwise, you're not going to be very motivated.
Yeah, and you study those great dynasties that we see in sports, the Spurs, now the Golden State. They might have had problems, but you see players want to take pay cuts to stay together and play together to win together. The Patriots are another good one. Tom Brady, very controversial person. Some people love him, some people hate him, but he takes a pay cut and he keeps his guys around him. The Virginia basketball coach turned down more money to stay connected with the staff and take care of the staff. So this is a big one if you really want to keep the motivation driving high.
We're going to switch to a red marker because as you can see, I'm struggling big time. Oh, Brian was about to hand me one. Thanks, B. B Monday. We're going to stay with black.
Hopefully that
All right,
works.
guys, the final of the 3 things that lead to motivation. This is so important. I would not be motivated to do this Facebook Live at all if I didn't feel like I was achieving this third one. If I didn't feel like I was contribution. Oh, it's a sharp marker. If I didn't feel like I was making any sort of a contribution to your life, would I be motivated to do this Facebook Live? Would I be motivated to write this thing out, which I got criticized for the arrow not being very straight, but you guys get the point. I would not be motivated to do that if it weren't for me feeling like I was making some sort of a contribution to your life.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is contribution. Every athlete has a role in the team, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the backup defensive end. Everybody's driving that team forward. And I know when I was a young athlete, sometimes it's hard to really understand the entirety of that statement, but everybody gets a ring when a team wins a Super Bowl. And it's because everybody plays a role in getting that team to get to where they're going. So that's a big one. If you don't feel like you're contributing, you're going to fall off a little bit. You're not going to stay motivated.
And it's the job of the leader, of the coach, of the parent to make sure you're making your kids feel like they're contributing. That's a big deal. Like the psychological contribution that a kid feels like he's making is equally as important as the physical one. Because some kids are actually contributing to the success of your team more than you realize, more than they realize, because of their positive attitude or just their energy that they're bringing. Yet so few coaches today are making that person feel like they're valuable for doing so, because we shine such a big spotlight on the scorers, the people who are making the biggest impact on the statistics, yet we fail to recognize that the contributors, the ones that are actually making the biggest difference, are the ones that don't feel like they're making the biggest difference.
Yeah, and I mean the big one is that the ultimate team sport, football. I mean the linemen, they're not glorified at all.
Poor
It's
linemen.
a very unglorified position, but man, they're contributing. And you study the success of football teams, man, that line is getting it done. So that's a big one. You got to understand your contribution to the team.
To close this out, guys, I just want to let you know that this has been far outside of our comfort zone over the past couple of years. to dive a little bit deeper as coaches to learn what truly does motivate our players. Because I hear coaches all the time complain about their players not being motivated, but you just got to dive into what drives human motivation in order to do it. Our coaches in today's sports world just need to do something different, right? This is a new generation. They're different to connect with. We need to do something different and adjust our philosophies. We can't be the coach that doesn't want to learn new tricks. We have to learn new things to keep up with our purpose and to keep making the impact we're wanting to make. This is just one small example of how we at PFP are just committed to being different as coaches. You can be so as well, and you can make the impact as a legacy coach that you're trying to make.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. You got to be willing to make small changes. It doesn't mean you got to throw out your entire philosophy, but you got to have some new tricks and then these days to connect with the athletes and get things done, make things happen. So this is one little insight how you're going to get that motivation to get up, stay up, and not have the athletes tailing off on you.
Yep. I check myself on this regularly. If I'm not personally feeling motivated, I know my players aren't feeling motivated. Am I congruent and aligned? Am I feeling connected? Am I contributing? Am I having choices? Do I have some sort of degree of control in my life? And then am I being challenged? Travis, you got a challenge for me?
I mean, I'm trying to squat every day in October. So if you want to get on that, you can get on that.
Travis is going to squat every day in October. If you want to hop on that, that's a good challenge for you.
Yeah, I like physical challenges, so I'm going to go for it.
Yep. So guys, thanks for watching this Facebook Live. We appreciate you, your ears, your attention. Go share this with somebody if it helped you, and let us know if there's any way we can impact you or your athlete in a greater way.
Hey.
That's it.